If you loved the original Legend of Zelda from 1987, chances are you will absolutely love Neutopia. Sure, it was heavily inspired by the Miyamoto classic, but it does enough new to make it stand out. Originally released back in 1990, Neutopia made full use of the TurboGrafx-16 add-on, the Turbo Booster Plus. With the Turbo Booster Plus, you could save your progress with ease, and you also had composite video out, which is always awesome. Without it, though, you were left to use the highly annoying and complex password system, because unlike those NES cartridges, there was no battery backup on a HuCard to save. This fact is hands down the very worst aspect of the entire game. We all hate passwords. Neutopia began with the evil Dearth kidnapping Princess Aurora. Dearth has also stolen 8 powerful medallions, and only you, Jazeta, can put an end to Dearth. Okay, so Dearth doesn't sound quite as menacing as Ganon, but you know what? For such an early action RPG, who cares? Let's jump on into the game itself. The gameplay is very much like the original Legend of Zelda. You traverse the overworld in classic overhead perspective and enter dungeons to find powerful item upgrades and missing medallions. Interestingly, the world is a little bit different than that of Hyrule. You see, in the original Legend of Zelda, the entire game was spread out on one giant overworld. But here, after you rescue the first 2 medallions, you actually open a staircase that takes you sort of to like another quote-unquote world. It's basically another overworld where you'll find the next 2 dungeons, and then you'll repeat that a couple more times. To prevent spoilers, I've only captured footage from the first half of the game. So you're only going to see about 4 of the dungeons, if even that many. The rest I'm going to leave for you to discover on your own. While in the overworld, you have access to a compass, which is located in the inventory menu. And the compass will always point you towards the next dungeon. This is extremely helpful as you'll always know where you're supposed to go next, which is a big, huge improvement over the original Legend of Zelda. As you progress through the game, a wide assortment of weapons and useful items become available. From powerful bombs to a special moss that lights darkened rooms to typical armor, shield, and sword power-ups, there's always something to look forward to. Perhaps the most useful item in the entire game is the Fire Wand. Not only does it allow you to attack in all 8 directions, whereas the sword can only be used to attack in 4 directions, the Fire Wand can also be used to burn trees and to locate extremely important items and shops, as well as a wide assortment of other secrets. Once you make your way to a dungeon, or a labyrinth as they're called in this game, a map is displayed in the inventory menu screen, and this easily allows you to figure out where you are and prevents you from getting lost. You can also locate a crystal orb which reveals the entire dungeon map, although it doesn't show you secret areas or bombable walls. This game also introduced the concept of a crypt key or a boss key. Without it, you can't fight the boss of the dungeon, so it's extremely important you always locate the dungeon's armor or item, plus the crystal, plus the key. Like regular RPGs, Neutopia is filled with villagers who will offer useful tips to help you on your journey. The translated text is actually quite good considering the age of the game. Puzzles in dungeons and in the overworld are more or less what you'd expect from the genre, especially this early in the genre's life. What that means is, if you're stuck in a room in a dungeon, you just kill all the enemies and the door will open, or perhaps there's a block that you need to push in order to unlock the door. In total, there are 8 dungeons and a wealth of secrets to discover. The game features beautifully bright and very detailed graphics, especially for an early Turbo release. The soundtrack is also great, with perfect sound effects and nice melodies that you'll remember long after you close the game off. While the quest is over in about 7 or 8 hours, it is one you won't forget anytime soon. Personally, Neutopia acted sort of like a bridge between the original Legend of Zelda and A Link to the Past. I actually enjoyed Neutopia more than I enjoyed Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. Like a lot of people, I thought Zelda 2 was quite the departure from the original game, and when I played Neutopia, I was like, wow, here's a developer who's got it right, to go back to the original Legend of Zelda format and just spice things up and introduce new elements and just do everything that the original Legend of Zelda did right. If you love the classic 2D Zelda games, Neutopia is a game for you. It's kinda hard to find in the wild today on the TurboGrafx-16, but it's readily available on the Wii's Virtual Console, so I encourage everyone to go give this classic a spin. It's utterly fantastic. Now, if there was only a Neutopia 2... Hey, wait a second, there was. Maybe I should stop doing this review, go grab my TurboGrafx-16, and see what that game's all about.
Do